General Carrix of the Valoran expansion fleet had survived 17 stellar campaigns. He had reduced moons to drifting debris, cracked orbital rings, and forced the surrender of civilizations that still worshipped the stars as gods. Yet nothing in his long, decorated service had ever made his mandibles seize the way they did now. The bridge of the dreadnought unbroken doctrine was silent. Not the disciplined calm of veteran officers, but the instinctive stillness of prey sensing a predator nearby. Consoles hummed softly. No one spoke. The sensor officer finally broke the quiet. Unknown vessel emerging from fold space. Trajectory steady. Mass readings, inconsistent. Carrix did not turn from the forward display. Define inconsistent. The officer swallowed. Its projected mass is far greater than what our sensors say it should be, General. That made Carrix look. The main screen sharpened, revealing a dark silhouette against the stars. Angular. Brutal. Asymmetrical. It looked less like a ship and more like a weapon designed without concern for elegance. There were no broadcast beacons, no transponder codes, no diplomatic heralds. Only presence. Species identification, Carrix demanded. The tactical AI hesitated. That alone sent a ripple through the bridge. Closest match, the AI said at last. Human Confederacy design language. Probability, 98%. The bridge erupted. That's impossible. They're confined to Sol. They signed the accords. Carrix raised one claw. Silence returned instantly. Open a channel, he ordered. If they are human, they will answer. Static filled the display. Then it cleared. A human face appeared. Pale skin. Dark, exhausted eyes. Hair pulled back tight. No smile. No ceremonial softness. Only restrained fury. This is General Carrix of the Valoran expansion fleet, he said formally. You have entered a restricted war zone. Identify yourself and state your intent. The humans stared at him for several long seconds. Then they spoke. General, the human said calmly. What's the spaceship? Carrix blinked. I do not understand the question. The human leaned closer to the camera. Their eyes were cold. I said, what's the spaceship? The translator flagged no errors. That is the unbroken doctrine, Carrix replied carefully. Flagship of the Third Expansion Armada. The human nodded slowly, as if confirming something unpleasant. Good, they said. Then this message is for you specifically. Their expression hardened. This is the human fleet, the human said. And we are not happy. The transmission ended. Every alarm on the bridge screamed at once. Space did not open with the graceful ripples of fold travel. It fractured violently, as though reality itself were being torn aside. Human ships poured through the breaks. Dozens. Then hundreds. No two were alike. Some were massive, slab-sided fortresses bristling with weapons. Others were lean, predatory shapes that moved with unsettling intent. None followed standard formation doctrine. They're ignoring hail frequencies, a comms officer shouted. They're not forming attack vectors, another added, confused. Carrix felt something unfamiliar coil in his chest. Uncertainty. Raise shields, he ordered. All ships, defensive posture. The tactical display flooded with data. Human vessels were not locking onto weapons, engines, or shields. Instead, they were scanning crew density, life support systems, redundancies, escape pod locations. They're studying us, whispered the science officer. No, Carrix said slowly. They already studied us. The first volley struck. Not energy. Not kinetics. Localized gravity distortions rippled through Valoran hulls. Decks twisted. Bulkheads screamed. Entire corridors collapsed inward as if crushed by invisible hands. Structural failure in cruiser wing. Medical decks compromised. Life support dropping. Return fire. Carrax roared. Valoran plasma lances burned across space. Several human ships vanished in white-hot explosions. The humans did not retreat. They did not slow. More fractures opened. More ships arrived, as if humanity had decided physics was optional today. A human transmission cut through the chaos. "This is a warning," the same calm voice said. "You attacked a protected human research habitat 3 cycles ago. That habitat was unmarked." Carrax snapped. "It had children," the human replied. "And medics. And people who trusted treaties." Another strike followed. Precision kinetic fire. Every Valoran long-range weapons platform detonated simultaneously. "You don't get to plead ignorance," the human continued. "You don't get to surrender territory." A pause. "You get to run." Fear hit Carrax with sudden clarity. Not weakness. Understanding. The certainty of being completely outmatched. Human ships punched through Valoran lines. They did not dogfight. They advanced like executioners walking through a room of prisoners. Escape pods launched blindly. Some were intercepted and gently nudged away from the fighting. "They're letting survivors go," an officer whispered. "They want witnesses," Carrax realized. Another transmission appeared. A different human this time. Older. Scarred. A general. "You are General Carrax," the human said. "I know your record. You pride yourself on efficiency." Carrax straightened. "What do you want?" "We want you to understand," the human replied. "We didn't come for conquest. We didn't come for resources." Behind the human, live feeds showed Valoran ships being methodically disabled. Not destroyed unless they resisted. "Humans don't wage war the way you do," the general continued. "We don't fight to take territory." They leaned forward. "We fight to make sure it never happens again." "What happens if we surrender?" Carrax asked quietly. The human was silent for a moment. "Then you live," they said. "And you remember." Human boarding torpedoes embedded themselves in the unbroken Doctrine's hull. Not breaching. Just waiting. A single message appeared on every Valoran display. "Run. They're mocking us," an officer said bitterly. "No," Carrax replied hollowly. "They're giving us a chance." Human ships peeled away, opening a narrow corridor through the destruction. A clear escape vector. The Valoran fleet fled. Warp drive screaming. Ships limping. Pride shattered. The humans did not pursue. They simply watched. Months later, the Galactic Council chamber was packed. Species that once mocked humanity now listened in fearful silence. General Carrax stood before them, scarred, demoted, alive. They asked him what he had learned. Carrax met their eyes. "If you ever see an unmarked ship," he said, "and it refuses your hails, pray it is not human." He paused. "Because if it is," he finished quietly, "and they are not happy, you won't get a second warning."